Hey, this is Kyle here, and today we have a 2016 MacBook Pro, the 2 USB-C model, as you can see, and no touch bar. And this model has been unfortunately end of life by Apple, so that means that it no longer receives any macOS updates. So it means it gets none of the new features that are told to you by Apple for the latest operating systems. It doesn't get any more security patches, and if there are any issues on your Mac, like Wi-Fi being slow or anything for drivers or anything, they aren't going to support that anymore. So I have this MacBook that has the 2.4 GHz dual-core i7, 16 GB of RAM, the Intel Iris graphics, and a 500 GB SSD that I feel could be running the latest macOS, which was Ventura but is now Sonoma. Came out last week. And OpenCore Patcher, which is this application that allows devices that have been end-of-lifed by Apple, which are deemed legacy devices, can be patched to allow you to install the updates. So it's built with security in mind. It allows you to get the latest software updates so that you can make sure you're always have the most security infrastructure built onto your laptop, so when you're browsing the web and downloading files and everything, there's less chance of you getting malware. You can still install those native over-the-air updates. So once you install OpenCore Legacy Patcher, you can actually go ahead and just go to System Preferences and Software Downloads and install the latest versions of the operating system. So it's super nice and convenient. And once you install it the one time, it automatically is installed. The new versions are automatically installed for you. For the OpenCore Legacy Patcher, that allows the firmware on your Mac to interact with the newest operating system. And it allows you just to unlock some of those newer features that are maybe not be on your older macOS version. So for example, this is a product that has been end-of-life right here. This is a 2016 Mac, so it doesn't have support for the latest operating system that features the moving wallpaper, for example. So if you want that, you would have to be able to either pay for a new device that has it, so that you can see that moving wallpaper if you wanted that. And it just allows you to save money, just so you don't have to buy that brand new device just to get that. So to get started, you just click on Getting Started, and you make sure that your model is supported. But I am almost certain that every single model of Mac is supported from 2008 all the way to 2020. Models are supported. So MacBook Pros, iMacs, iMac Pros, the 4K version, the 5Ks, everything seems to be working for me. So then you just go ahead and download and build the macOS installer, and don't worry, it's not as difficult as it seems. So once you download the application, all you have to do is download the release application, and 1.01 is their latest version. You just click on that, you scroll all the way to the bottom, and you click this OpenCore Patcher GUI.app.zip. So once you have that downloaded, you just go to your downloads, like you normally would if you're installing any application. And once it's verified, you go ahead and click Open. We'll create a macOS installer. So we'll click Download macOS Installer. We'll find available software, which will find versions that you can install on this Mac. So we can install macOS 11.7 Big Sur. We can install macOS 12.7 Monterey. You can install macOS 13.6 Ventura, or you can install macOS 14 Sonoma. So I'm actually going to install the Sonoma, but you can also view all versions. So if you wanted to install a different version of Big Sur, you can. If you have a specific patch that you want to use, there's also beta versions if you want to. So we'll just go ahead and download the latest stable version of Sonoma, which is not the beta version. And once that's done, we'll return and continue with the installation. So once it downloads, it'll go to validating. And yes, your Mac will get warmed for this, so I'm actually going to prop this up because it's downloading a large file, it's unpacking it, and it's evaluating a lot. So I'll just flip that up for now. And when I see continuation on next steps, I'll bring it back down. So once it's unpacked and been verified, you want to go ahead and it's asking to create the macOS installer. So we'll want to do that. We'll go ahead and plug in our USB drive. And you can see that it's communicating. You can see 32 gigabyte, which is the name of the drive, is populated there. So we'll go ahead and click yes. Say install macOS Sonoma is what we want to do. It'll allow you to select which disk. So we'll select our USB drive, our external disk, which should be the only one displaying. We'll give a confirmation, which is saying yes, I have no other data on here, so that's fine. We'll type in our password. And now it's going to go ahead and create the installer. And once it's complete, we'll come back and go to the next step. So it looks like we're coming up to the end here, and it's validating the installation integrity. And you can hear the fans are running. It's physically hot to the touch, and so is the flash drive. So once it's done validating and everything, I'm just going to let it cool off a little bit before I proceed. Okay, and you can see that it says successfully created the macOS installer. Created successfully. Would you like to continue and install OpenCore to this disk? And the flash drive's name is now install macOS Sonoma. But I'm going to go ahead and set this down and just let everything cool off before I continue everything. Alright, now that we've given everything about 5 minutes to cool down, let's go ahead and say yes, we do. Would you like to install OpenCore now? Yes, install to this disk, which will be the internal. Install OpenCore onto your Apple SSD. And now we will select Reboot to apply. And it says you'll need to reboot and hold the Option key and select OpenCore Boot EFI option. So let's go ahead and do that. The Option key is either 2 keys in on your keyboard on next to the spacebar, or 2 over on the left side. So we'll go ahead. We'll hold Option and restart. Okay, and once you see the options pop up, we'll go ahead and select EFI boot. And we can go over and select install macOS Sonoma. And that'll send that flash drive to start blinking as it's reading the installation files. And you'll see a loading progress bar. You won't see the Apple logo at this stage because it is running off that EFI OpenCore Patcher. And now from here, don't worry, everything is going to be small and squished at the moment because it doesn't have the drivers installed for this display. We'll just go ahead and click on Continue for Install macOS Sonoma. And we'll go down to Continue. And then these are your terms and conditions. You can go ahead and read through those. And if you agree to the current terms and conditions, you'll click Agree. And it'll have you select it one more time, disagree or agree. We agree to the terms and conditions. Now it allows you to select the disk where you want to install macOS. So if you want to install it onto an external bootable drive, you just have to make sure that it's connected as a USB device into one of your USB ports. Depending on your model, you could have 4, and you could have it plugged in anywhere you want. But for this case, I want to install it as the main operating system, so I want to install it into my SSD. So I'll go ahead and select the SSD, which is the internal drive for this device. And now it's installing, and it has about 25 minutes remaining. So let's go ahead and give it some time to install. I'm just allowing it to continue the installation. You can see it's now on an Apple logo, and it says about 17 minutes remaining. So this process seems to be taking about 30 minutes if those times are correct, with the installer time and then this here as well. So just keep in mind that this entire process of installing the Core Patcher, downloading the version of the OS that you would like, and installing it on the flash drive could be up to 2 hours, depending on your internet connection. Let's go ahead and continue waiting for this to install, and we will come back. Okay, and now that it has booted up into macOS Sonoma after that installation, it just restarted a few times, and now we're greeted with our wallpaper. So let's go ahead and type in our password. And of course, the first time you sign in is going to take a moment, because it's doing a lot of updates in the background still, since it's just installed that operating system. And you can see that there's no activity light on the flash drive, so we're no longer running any installation off of that flash drive, so we can actually go ahead and eject that disk. So either you can do that through the Finder, or you can see that it's showing the drive in the upper right. So I'll go ahead and click eject. You can see we're interacting with the drive. Once it says we're safe to eject, we'll go ahead and take that out. But you can see we are running Sonoma. Let's go ahead and let's go to About This Mac. Take our flash drive out and set that to the side. No longer need that. But we can see we are on this MacBook Pro. Now your Mac has a lot more life left to it. It's not just stuck in the old days on its old operating system. You're actually able to run the latest software, and now updates and everything will actually come through your normal update center in your settings. You don't have to mess with this flash drive anymore. You don't have to mess with any OpenCore Patcher or anything. Once you've installed it the first time, you should be good to go. If you ever do run into issues, you can open this OpenCore Legacy Patcher and click Post Install Root Patch. Although it looks like everything is already installed. See, it says all applicable patches already installed. So when it installed the operating system, it looks like it went ahead and installed everything else that it needed. And everything is running nice and smooth for me. I'm able to click through what I want. But it actually kept all my files, all my preferences. So I didn't have to go through the whole setup process again. So yeah. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Thank you for watching.